he was king, he was the Lord of all. But they wanted they wanted somebody they could touch, something they could feel. So God gave them Saul. Saul was everything that you would think a king should be. He was tall, he was strong, he was forceful, he was good looking. He was a king. But he fell really, really bad. Over and over again. To the point where God rejected him as king and went to Samuel. And that's where we're going to pick up. 1 Samuel 16, if you want to follow along. We're starting right with verse 1. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long will you mourn for Saul? Since I have rejected him over king of Israel, fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I am sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I have chosen one of his sons to be king." Samuel liked Saul, even though Saul was messing up quite a bit. He didn't want to quite give up on him yet. But it's not about what Samuel wanted, it's about what God wanted. And God wanted a new king. But Samuel said, "How can I go? Saul will hear about it and kill me." Now I want us to think about that for a second, because Samuel talked with God every day. Samuel saw great things that the Lord had done, yet he's afraid of Saul, who may kill him. And if the Lord tells us to do something, is he going to provide a way for us to do it? Always has, always will. Samuel, the prophet that spoke with God, he spoke with God on a regular basis, is wondering how he's going to do this. And the Lord said, "Take a heifer with you and say that I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You are to anoint for me the one I indicate." Not the one that we would look at normally, but the one that the Lord wants to choose. So Samuel did that. And in the next couple verses, to give you a snapshot of what happened, Samuel approaches the town, and they're all kind of freaking out in modern day terms, because normally when Samuel came to a town, it was to condemn them for something. So they thought they were in trouble. Samuel calms their fears and tells them that he came to sacrifice with them. And he gets Jesse's ear and says that he needs to see him and his sons, because the Lord has a new king. Now Jesse, when they approach Jesse's home, the first son they see is, and I never say this name right, Eliah. Eliah was what we would picture as a king. He was big and strong and forceful and oldest of the sons, seemed to have everything together. And that's who Samuel, that's going to be the one that the Lord chooses. But the Lord said to Samuel in verse 7, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look on the things that man looks at. The man looks at the outward appearance. But the Lord looks at the heart." And Jesse called Abinadab, and he said to pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, "The Lord has not chosen this one either." Jesse then had Shammah pass by, but Samuel said, "Nor has the Lord chosen this one." Jesse had 7 sons pass before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, "The Lord has not chosen these." So he asked Jesse, "Are these all the sons you have?" Jesse says, "They're still the youngest, but he's tending the sheep." In other words, he's young, and you wouldn't want him. The Lord can't have him as king. Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So he sent and had him brought in. He was ruddy with fine appearances and handsome features. Then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. He is the one." So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came upon David in power. Samuel then went to Ramah. David's one of my favorite characters because he wasn't supposed to be what God wanted him to be, or what people wanted him to be. He was to be what God wanted him to be. People had an idea set for David already, and God said, "No, he's going to be my king. Whether you like it or not, people, he's going to be my king, and you'll follow him." And David was one of the best kings that ever came to the Israelites. He had problems, he had struggles, but he was always repentant of his struggles, and he always sought after God's heart. In fact, that's one of the things I like best about David is it's referred to over and over again that he was a man that sought after God's own heart. He liked to just go and hang out with God. And I think that there's a lot of times that God just likes us to hang out with him, be with him. The other guy that I want to share with you this morning is Joshua. Joshua was under Moses. What I like about Joshua is he always had a determination that he could do whatever God sent him to do. It didn't matter what it was, he would do it. When Moses sent them over to spy on the land that God had given them, Joshua came back with reports, we can do this. This is a good thing. The land is ready. While the other spies that went with him said, there are giants in the land. All they had to say were negative things, and Joshua knew if the Lord had given it to him, they could do it. Moses had just died, and Joshua was getting ready to be appointed to the people. So I want to read this to you. It's from Joshua 1. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give to them, the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert of Lebanon and from the great river of the Euphrates, all the Hittite country to the great sea on the west. No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, I will be with you. I will never leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land that I swore to their forefathers to give them. Be strong and courageous. Be careful to obey all the law that my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Joshua had no limits with God. He put no limits on him, and he, in return for that, was able to do extraordinary things. I was sitting on my back porch this week. Monica, for Father's Day last year, got me this awesome swing that just go back. It's real comfortable. You can just take it easy. I was thinking, God, if I can find some keys between these men and not only other men in the Bible, but great women in the Bible, what would they be? What would they be? Kind of like rules or guidelines we can live by. And this is what I came up with. Number one, God is number one. Without question. That means he's above everything. You have to let him have control of everything. God is number one. A right relationship with God. A relationship that wants to spend time with him. In our society, when everything is so busy, even for my mom is retired. She came to visit last week. She was coming to get a break because her schedule is so busy. And it's probably worse now than it was when she was working. We have to take time to mend that and build that relationship with Christ. We need to have a repentant heart. We all make mistakes. David made lots of mistakes. Saul made lots of mistakes. The difference in the two was David had a repentant heart. He truly sought a relationship with God. He wanted to know God. He wanted to be in his presence. The right attitude. David showed mercy and repentance. Joshua showed strength and unbelievable determination. The right outlook. This hit me in the face this week. Not literally hit me in the face, but some of you who know me know that I love pies. I like food generally, but like banana cream pies. And when we lived in California, I met this wonderful lady. My wife met her too, and we'd eat at her place all the time. Her name was Marie Callender's. But thank goodness for modern technology, because now we can have Marie Callender's in your local frozen food section. So I went and got a banana cream pie. And when you get them, they're frozen and they're kind of hard. And so I had let this pie set. I had to have one piece. But I let this pie set and get all ready because I was gonna have a piece that night. And I went to take it out of the refrigerator and it fell on the floor. Smattered. And I was mad at myself, trying to figure out who I could blame it on, and realized it was my fault. So I'm sweeping it up, trying to get it off the floor, and Monica's saying, now use this, it'll make it so it's not sticky, and I really don't care. I just want to get it off the floor and get it in the garbage. And she asked me later, I was spitting on my shoes and stuff. She goes, where are you going? I'm going back to Walmart to get another Marie Callender pie. So I went back and got another one, and I nuked a piece, so it was okay, and went to get it out again, and guess what happened? Monica actually did it this time. But being the great woman that she is, she saved it. So it was kind of like a mess, but that's fine with me. It's still good. The right outlook. It was a stinking pie, We get upset over things so many times that are so stupid. So stupid. We need to refocus and make sure our outlook is correct on what God wants us to do. One of the things that I liked best about these two men was their unquenchable thirst for life. In the past 20 years working with young people, I've been able to work with kids that have thought about suicide at 16, 17, 12, 13. And I can't understand why they would be willing to give up so much, so young, how things can get so bad that they don't want to go on. Their focus is off. Their focus is wrong. And once they find focus, everything's usually okay again. An unquenchable thirst for life. I had a man in our church in Markville, I used to complain about being old, and birthday, and he looked at me and said, having a birthday is better than the alternative. And he's right. How many of us live day to day, go to job, come home, sit down, do whatever? Our lives are so fast that we can't even think of what life is, because how can you have a thirst for something that you're just going through instead of living? The other thing is these men surrounded themselves with great people. David always had somebody to lean on. Always had somebody. Joshua had Caleb, had Moses. They only looked back at the past to learn from it. They didn't dwell there. There's no life in the past. Life is in the future. It doesn't exist in the past. It's already had its chance. They did not give in to gossip. If Joshua had gone along with the rest of the people, the Israelites would have never inherited the land that was intended to them. He chose to believe what God thought was right. If Noah had listened to the people around him, he would